In three, two, one. What's going on, folks? Welcome to 34 Questions. I'm your host, 34. And tonight we have Harry from Sugar Bros in the building. How are you doing tonight, Harry?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good, good. Thank you for making time for this interview. It is a Tuesday, and I know it's not the best day of the week, so I definitely just appreciate you, taking some time to talk to me and, want to get a little deeper on the 34 Questions podcast. So, man, thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for hosting and reaching out.
Absolutely, man. I'm trying to speak to the world. So thank you for helping me build and, be a part of the journey. For the folks out there who are unfamiliar with the flow of the show, we typically start off with some warm-up questions. After that, we'll jump into an icebreaker. After the icebreaker, that's when we'll get to kind of like the main portion of the interview, which is the Wheel of Fate, where we'll spin the wheel, whichever number it lands on. That's how the conversation will flow. And then after that, we'll finish out with some closeout questions. Sound good to you, Harry?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, dog. So let's just jump right into it. The warm-up. My first question for you in the warm-up really is, how have you been? You've been doing well. You've been doing great. How you been lately, man?
I've been good. Super busy. God, I'm just working 24/7. Do multiple things. These past couple of years has been crazy overall.
I gotcha. And this is me following up. I'm gonna do a lot of follow-up questions, but how's it been holding all those things, man? Because I can only imagine what it's like. And for me, I'm very into balancing my life with the hard work and also the chill time. But it sounds like you've just been doing hard work. So how's it been just carrying all that?
Yeah, I think with the crazy schedule that I have, it's very hard to find a balance. With my regular job, they always talk about work-life balance, which is really great. But, with balancing that and, running a business full time, it could get a little bit of, get pretty hectic.
Dude, for sure. And then what year are you into running your own business at this point?
Yeah, so we started in February 2021, right in the middle of the pandemic.
I got you. I feel that. This podcast, same thing, February 2021, but go for it.
Yeah.
I got you. Was that just were you inspired because of quarantine and everything to start pursuing something, or how did it come up for you?
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So, I was over at my business partner's house, who's, one of my best friends, and we were just having drinks one night, and it was just me and him. And we were just talking about how a lot of our friends are opening up their own businesses. So, shout outs to, my boys, Shane and Brandon over at Dip Donuts. They kind of started the same way as we did. Also, drawing more inspiration from, my boys, Tim and Ryan over at Pit Stop Boba Shop in South City.
I know. I'm familiar.
Yeah, so me and my business partner Patrick, we were just sitting there. We're like, crap, what could we do? If they could do something, then we could do something.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of drew inspiration from our childhood of, being Chinese and Vietnamese descent, growing up here in the Bay Area, San Francisco in specific. And we wanted to be something super different, just thinking outside of the box of, what can we do? We didn't want to do boba because the market is so saturated here.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just thinking back, what did we grow up with that we don't necessarily have right now? And, that's how we came up with Sugar Bros, sugarcane juice, freshly squeezed or freshly pressed, if you will. I grew up going down to San Jose with my parents and getting it, even going to the farmers markets here in the city, buying the whole sugarcane stock and just chewing on it. And he got the inspiration from, being in Vietnam as a little kid, drinking sugarcane juice out of a bag.
Mm-hmm.
So literally the next day we're like, all right, let's capitalize on it. Let's do it. We did all of our business paperwork, our LLC and everything. And yeah.
I got you. Hey, yo, and I tried some of that the Sugar Bros in on this past weekend, and yeah, it was delicious, dog. I don't know what was OG anyway. Like, can you tell me, or is that like a secret?
No,
Yeah.
anything within like the food or beverage related. I mean, we're just a sugarcane juice company, so just OG bro would just be original sugarcane juice, just plain and simple.
Hmm. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. All right, man. My second question for you in the warm up is, what would you like the audience to know about you? So we know about Sugar Bros, but is there anything else you would just like folks to know about you? Yeah, in my mind, this is like the disclaimer. Like, whatever I say from this point on, you kind of just know where I'm coming from. So what would you like the
Yeah.
audience to know about you?
Yeah, I mean, just about myself. I mean, I'm a pretty chill guy, and I love to go with the flow on everything that I do in life.
Mm.
It could also be like a very bad thing at times. But I just love to live life to the fullest, and love to hang out with my friends, my girlfriend, cook, eat. I mean, I live a really simple life, dude.
I got you. That chillness that you speak of, is that, you think that was just like more nature? Like, is your family chill too, or it was nurtured? Like, you went through stuff in life and you were like, man, maybe I should be chill. What would you say?
I think I actually adapted that from my dad. Um, when when he was still alive, he lived life to the fullest. He spent with no care. He did everything to make everybody happy.
Mm.
And that's where I kind of got that trait from, if you will.
No, I got you. I got you. For
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
My second question for you in warm up is, how would you like to be honored? So, if there was a way I could express the energy you possess, what sort of act could I do? And let me know if you need more clarification on it.
Oh man, how I like to be honored. This is actually something I never really thought about, to be honest with you. I think if I were to be, oh man, let's get back to that.
Okay, yeah, no worries, no worries. I know it's kind of funky.
Yeah,
I'll try to remember
because
that.
I've never,
Yeah.
and the reason why I say that is because I'm a person that never really like think like highly of myself. You know, I don't know. It's just the weird thing that I don't really do. Maybe I can ask my girlfriend later.
Maybe you can ask her, but no, I understand, man. I think, like myself too, I honestly feel like I'm just a regular guy talking to people on this podcast, and for the folks out there who might see me, what's it called? What's the word am I thinking about? But see me from their point of view, they might say, oh, this guy's doing it, this guy's got it figured out, when I really don't. It's really just trial and error, and I'm just trying to do what I enjoy doing, which is have good conversations. So let me kind of switch this a little bit. If you don't know how you would like to be honored, how would you like to be remembered?
Yeah, that's actually something that came into my head. I think if I were to be remembered for something, I think I would just be remembered as the guy that's always willing to help anybody and everybody.
Mm.
When it comes down to helping my family with like little things around the house, or even like my friends, oh, you need a ride to the airport or whatever the case may be, I'm always down to do those kinds of things. Or if I ever like see somebody like struggling, especially with like my friends or whatever, I'll just be like, hey, like let's talk. Yeah. Or even like my girlfriend, whenever she needs like help with something, I'm always down to help, not because I have to, but just because I want to. And I think that's where I drew a lot of my passion for people.
I got you.
Yeah.
Would you say that's I know this is a buzz term, but your love language, like acts of service? It sounds like it.
Yes, it really is. Yeah.
I got you. I got you. For sure, man.
Yeah. Also like even like working in places such as like the Apple store, like a long time ago. I think when I was working there, that's when I first met you, possibly. They really taught you how to take care of people and just really care for people.
I hear you.
And like with all the jobs that I've had even before opening this business, it's all like services and just helping people.
I was gonna say, in your experience now that you're kind of in the industry, you're part of the game, how much of a difference does your experience in service help out with Sugar Bros? Because I can only imagine it's giving you kind of a leg up. I don't know if every business, they say they want to treat people a certain way, but not always executing that way. But yeah, how has that kind of helped you out?
Yeah, I think it's helped me grow a lot when it comes down to like making people happy. Even like doing events, how you ran into me just over the weekend. We do a lot of outdoor events. So for example, like the Filipino Fest that happened over the weekend, we just finished up 626 Night Market over in Pleasanton. We did that in May and July. And like people would come up to our booth, and I would play the cashier role, and just like helping people out with like the menu, answering any questions. If they never had the beverage before, I'll always like recommend like something off the menu, and I'll be like, hey, you should try this, and I know for sure you'll like it because it's one of the best things you could ever have in life. And I just wait for that first sip, and I just love getting their facial reaction afterwards.
No, for sure.
Yeah,
I hear you.
Yeah, they just do that that double take.
Or like I'm sure you probably got the ones that take a sip, or like they're turning around and then they'll turn back and like make eye contact.
Exactly.
Like,
exactly. And I'll just point at them and be like, "Yep, I told you so."
I got you. I'm kind of curious, like, you guys have a brick and mortar, or is it just strictly events and maybe online orders or something?
Yeah, so just to kind of give you like a brief background of how we initially started.
For sure.
I was working in sales for a tech company, and my business partner, he was working for Tesla, and we were actually doing this as an Instagram restaurant out of my garage on the weekends, because that was the only time that we had freed up.
I hear it.
And we started this. We officially launched in April 2021. Fast forwarding to May of last year in 2022, I think within like a 2-week time span, he got laid off he quit his job at Tesla. I got laid off from my job, and we're just like, all right, let's just go full force in this. And now we operate out of a ghost kitchen in Soma, right next to the courthouse. And we solely focus on, to-go orders on Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, even on our website, sugarbros.com. Do like half gallons and full gallon sizes. We have, restaurant partners that we work with. We're exclusively at Bentray, also at Galvian Kitchen, which is a really big account for us.
Yeah, Gal. Yeah, it's popping there. Sure.
Yeah, it is popping. Yeah, in both their San Mateo and San Francisco locations. So.
For sure. This is maybe something we'll talk about off camera, but I do work at a high school. We always got events and stuff, so I got to tap in with you to see how we can get some Sugar Bros out there.
Yeah, let's do it.
School. But all right, Doc. Let me move on to the last question of the warm up, which is on a scale from 1 to 10. How well do you know yourself?
Scale 1 to 10. How well do I know myself? I think in this case, I would say maybe like an 8.
Word, okay. Why an 8?
Yeah, so and the reason why I say an 8 is because the remaining 2 is, well, just to kind of go back a little bit, like I wake up every morning like knowing who I am, what I'm doing, what I'm supposed to be doing, always thinking about how am I going to get to the next level, either whether if it's like work related or Sugar Bros. And I would say like the remaining 2 is the leftover 2 that could be the part of essentially like the missing piece of all this is how should I put this?
Take your time.
How could I be better?
Mm.
And yeah, how could I be better every single day? And those are just the missing pieces.
I gotcha. It took me a long time to kind of, I want to say I feel a similar way where I wake up in the morning kind of very secure with what my mission is and what I'm trying to accomplish in that day, where I'm trying to get to the next day. It took me till I turned 30, dog. And I would say 3 really big career mistakes as far as like dreams that I was chasing took me to get through those failures. So for you, do you feel like the time you got to 8, has that been recent, or you kind of just like had that feeling for a long time now, or for a short time?
I think it's actually been recent. And I want to say like past like almost 2 years that I've come to that point. There are times, we're all human. There are times where I do feel less than that.
For sure.
And that's just overall life, like there's always something going on, whether if it's like work or friends or family that could possibly bring you down. But I think, after my dad had passed, I'm the only boy in the family, so I had to like really like step it up to help take care of my mom, my sisters, my girlfriend. I've been playing man of the house for a little while now.
I got you, man. I got you.
Yeah. So it kind of started up my gears a little bit more.
When the pressure kind of gets to you, you got to grow. Pressure makes diamonds too. So I hear it, man. I don't think I've ever. I guess I would be considered lucky, spoiled, blessed, whatever it is. I don't think I've had that point yet, and I don't know what's gonna happen for me if that happens. Which, it's one of those things that like it's not if, it's when. But yeah, I hear you, man. And my follow up for you for this question is, when's the last time you surprised yourself? Like when you were like, oh damn, I didn't know that was me, or I didn't know I could do that, and it just kind of like came up for you, if you have.
Yeah, I think a moment that I could say that is I want to say like 6 months after my business partner and I, we started this business. We didn't really know what we were doing going into the night market space. We did our first big event, and it was our first event in general. It was at Foodieland down in San Mateo.
That was your first one? That was your first ever
event?
That
was our first event.
Okay, I got
ever going out to the public and doing this.
We
had a team of, it was one of our buddies. Shout out to my boy Mike for always helping us out with events. And my business partner's fiance, my little sister. It was the 6 of us, and not to toot my own horn or anything like that, but like we were the line at that event. And it got to the point where like we even had to like close down shop for even like 30 minutes just to keep up with the demand, to like re-prep and overall just to give ourselves a break, because we're on our feet for like hours and hours on end. Like we never had the chance to sit down. But after like the whole weekend, it was a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday event, like I had the opportunity to reflect and like, wow, like, this could turn into something big. Especially, us being the pioneers in San Francisco with sugarcane juice. It's definitely a market that has not been exposed to it yet.
For sure. Was it like and I know it's not all the same, but since you're in the food and beverage industry, was it like one of those scenes from The Bear? I don't know if you familiar with that show or have seen it before, but they do really intense scenes of like things going wrong, and everybody in the back have to kind of like huddle together, and some people are maybe are pissed off but are still trying to work together, and at the end the team comes together and make it work.
No, for sure. For sure that happened.
I got you.
Yeah, and like also like growing up here, like a lot of our friends like came out to like support us and all that too, and like, and I'm not gonna like call anybody's name out, but like they would just come into our tent and like just start bugging us. I'm like, crap, dude, like just like DTFO, like I'm trying to work right now. I'm trying to get all these orders out, and like you're just not helping me right now, and
I hear it, dog.
It was the whole thing.
For sure. Well, right on. And thank you for telling us the story about that first time, man. That since that first time and where you are now, you feel pretty good about how far y'all have come and how more prepared y'all are when you do events?
Yes, for sure. I would say like every event that we do now, like we bring less and less stuff, which is always a good
Sick.
thing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, just because like now like we have like a good like workflow going. We know who's good at what. We know who's not so great at stuff. Just to keep a consistent flow. And also I would say, yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, every event just gets easier and easier now. And just coming from like a growth perspective, our overall mission was to open up a full on like brick and mortar, but with rent in San Francisco, it's just so expensive. So we actually took the ghost kitchen route, where we're at right now, and it's a 1 year contract. It's basically like a stepping stone to prepare us to actually get into the brick and mortar route. So yeah, I've definitely learned a lot during this journey so far.
I gotcha. I don't know if can you talk about the ghost kitchen, because I'm kind of curious about that, like how you
Yeah,
guys set it up.
yeah, yeah. No, that's a really great question. So for all the people that are in the food industry that are going to be potentially watching this, ghost kitchen, it's basically, think of it like an apartment complex, like a luxury apartment complex, but for restaurants. So you get your own space. It's not a shared space. The folks that we work with, Cloud Kitchen, they have cleaners that come into our kitchen and clean every night. They take care of our garbage, which is really cool. The only utilities that we pay for is just water. And what
Interesting.
really, yeah, it's super dope. Like, and what really sold us to this place was that they supply ice. And I know it's like super small, but before, when we were doing this out of my garage, like we have to. I live like a couple blocks away from Lucky's, but the more you buy ice, it just adds up and up. And yeah, that was like one of the biggest selling points.
No, for sure, man. Especially for what you guys do, I can only imagine the headache of picking it up, stocking it, making sure it doesn't melt, or like using it by a certain time and everything. So it's great to to have a ghost kitchen that offers it. I'm pretty sure that's a big selling point for a lot of folks in
Yeah,
that same kitchen. Um,
yeah, and like also like, I mean, this is like somewhat of a downside
mm,
of things, but I don't really get to interact with the customers. Um, well, sometimes I do if they place an order for pickup, but that's like super rare. But like I said, they solely focus on Uber Eats, DoorDash, Grubhub, and so forth. So I don't really get to interact with the customers or like hear their feedback right away, and that's just probably one thing that I want to get more out of.
I gotcha. I did want to ask about it because I've ordered from ghost kitchens, but mostly food, not beverages. And for some reason, the idea I had in my mind was like, they have the ingredients there for like separate, I guess, entities or restaurants, because I think some ghost kitchens operate that way. And then they'll have the robots kind of like come up. I think for me, I always order salads, but I can notice when I order a salad, the same ghost kitchen, and I order like maybe not a salad but like a sandwich, I can notice it's the same ingredients. And so it's just like in my mind,
Yeah,
it's a bunch of
no,
ingredients. Yeah, go ahead.
no, it's actually a good thing that you bring that up, because a lot of the restaurants that are in there, they have multiple concepts. So
Mm,
it could be, let's say, for example, you opened up a wing place, right? Called Jan's Wings,
yeah, yeah.
but on the back end, you also have another concept around burgers, under a different entity. So you could literally have like 5, 6, 7 different concepts in your own restaurant if you like.
Got you. So there are some that do it that way. I see.
Yeah, yeah. Funny story about that. Uber Eats was actually trying to crack down on some of these places, which is really shitty because like, dude, you're like essentially messing with people's livelihoods. This is how they make their money.
Yeah, yeah.
It's how they support their families. Um, and if you're offering a great product, why not just keep on selling it?
That is interesting. I wonder, like, if they're trying, it could be a public facing matter. They're trying to, sway the public in their favor. I'm not sure because I know robotics and automation, AI has like this fear in currently right now until it becomes the norm and it just becomes accepted as normal everyday life. We'll see how far we are from that. One more question for you before we move to the icebreaker, which is, one, do you consider yourself a leader amongst your team? And what are good traits of a leader? What are some qualities that you try to bring?
I think in my case in specific, I can't really be a leader I would say, just because it's just myself and my business partner.
I got you.
I mean, the only team that we have is, like I said, like I mentioned earlier, like our buddy Mike that helps us. But I mean, he's been with us for so long where there's really not much to lead at that point. Like he already knows like what to do, and yeah, he's just a great support system, and love that guy.
For sure. Well, so the three people I saw at the event were the three people behind Sugar Bros.
Yeah. So me and my business partner, and then our friend Mike that helps us every now and then.
That's what's up, man. That makes me feel like that experience was even more, I guess, more special to me, just because like I got to see these three dudes really grinding out with their brand, and special to see, man. For sure.
Yeah.
All right, dog. Let's move on to the icebreaker, which is basically, then you let me know which one you want to do. I have a this or that, or a word association. Which one do you feel more comfortable with?
Let's do this or that.
This or that. All right. You'll have 34 seconds to do as many as you can. And then at the end of it, I will follow through with a couple of the answers that you give. All right. So here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Regret or doubt?
Regret or doubt? Regret.
Staycation or vacation?
Vacation.
Underestimated or overestimated?
Underestimated.
Hang out with little kids or old folks?
Oh man, it's such a hard one because I love both so much. Old folks.
Group hangout or one-on-one hangout?
Group hangout.
And then my last one for you, hero or anti-hero?
I would say, I don't really know the definition of anti-hero.
More like a vigilante type, plays by their own rules, but still has like a moral compass trying to do the right
Oh yeah,
thing.
that for sure.
Okay.
That for sure, yeah.
Got you. For
sure.
Well, let's start off with the one that seemed like you had some thoughts about, which was hang out with little kids or old folks. So what was your split? You said you enjoy both. But why'd you choose the one you chose?
Yeah, I think I chose old folks is because like out of my whole friend group that I've like hung out with ever since like getting out of high school, like I've always been the baby of the group.
I see.
Yeah, so I kind of gravitate towards that more. And overall, like you just learn so much from older people because they have that much more experience than you in life.
Got you.
But I could also see like from the other standpoint of like hanging out with like the younger folks, or even like hang out with like toddlers, babies, or whatever, because they could actually help shape you.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I work at a high school, so I'm always around younger kids. And when I was talking to a teacher about like why choose the school, why choose to work with kids, and I don't know if you feel this way or have, can relate to this, but one thing for me when I talk to these high schoolers, or like the teacher told me the reason why, we like doing what we do or working with kids is that when we talk to them, it feels like the whole world is still open. It feels like possibilities are endless for them still. And then when you talk to adults, it almost feels like things are a little more narrow. Things are not, I want to say closed-minded, but more set in their life. So there's that difference. And then for me, I'm just like, damn, never thought about it that way, but I can definitely see what they were talking about. Because my experience, just talking to my peers or older folks, it's like it's always like looking back at things versus looking forward at things, right?
No, that's a great way to put it. I never really thought about it that way.
It's a trip, man. Yeah, for sure. And then regret or doubt. I believe you said doubt. I could be wrong, but
I said regret.
excuse me. Why'd you choose regret from those two?
Yeah, the reason why I chose regret versus doubt is because when you doubt yourself, you're always gonna have a regret.
Mm.
And how and what I mean by that is, you say you doubt yourself in, like, let's say, like, doing something, right? Um let's say skydiving, for example, right? Oh, I doubt that I could do that. But when you see everybody else do it, you're just like, in the back of your mind, it's like, damn, I wish I could have done that because it looks so fun.
Yeah. I hear you.
Yeah, I thought that's just my little look on it, I guess.
No, for sure, man. There's no right or wrong answer. It's
Yeah.
really just getting your perspective on things. But no, I appreciate that. I know for me, like my whole life, I've kind of lived in doubt, right? And even so, dude, like I don't think I could choose because it feels so equal to me as far as like the things. Now that I'm older, I don't live in doubt as much, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I think regret is a big driving force for me because there's a lot of, I think, missed opportunities that still kind of haunt me, and I'm trying to work my way to get so far ahead of that I don't even think about those things anymore. But I don't think I'm there yet. So between the two, I feel like regret's been a bigger, I guess, force in my life at this point.
Yeah.
But I hear you, man. All right, dog. Well, we made it to the main portion of the podcast now, which is Wheel of Fate. Like I said earlier, which if there's a question that's too personal, feel free to pass because these questions can get a little deep. So this first one is going to be, you're at the line, but I believe it's 26. And then
Yeah, I think so too.
this one is, okay. 26 is, how would you have raised yourself? You could have raised Harry.
How I could have raised myself. Just kind of like thinking back to my childhood,
Yeah.
my parents are immigrants from overseas, and when they first came here, like, it was just always work. So I think I would have loved to, I want to spend, and I think this is like one of my plans, like if and when I do have kids, is I want to spend as much time with them as possible and really teaching them the value of life. And not necessarily like doing a lot of hand holding, but just kind of like guiding them through life, because growing up, like, my parents were always just like, oh, you have to go to school. And it was always like, I would always get really angry about school. I think that's why I never really enjoyed school, because like it was a very big like pressure point on myself. And I do, I do want my kids to be very successful one day with school, because I never finished myself. Only highest education level I got was high school and like some college. I'm actually thinking about going back to school just to pick up a few things and learn a few new tricks. And it was never really like explained to me why these things were so important. And I think that's one big thing that I could really like bring value to my future kids one day.
I got you, man. And yeah, I mean, parenting is super hard, right? Like, I think all the parents out there are just trying the best they can with what they got, what they know. So, this question is more so like just a reflection on yourself and what you thought the child that you were could have needed, as you were getting older. But I hear you, man. I mean, I don't want any parents to feel like, damn, this guy's trying to, say something about that, which I'm not.
Yeah.
one, the immigrant lifestyle, you know, I think is wild to me to think right now, if you were going to move somewhere with your family to a new country and just say like, yo, we're going to make the dream work here, right? I think that almost isn't, to me, it doesn't seem like it's a possibility. Like I can't imagine myself just uprooting and telling my family, hey, we're going to make it work over here and not where we've been our whole lives. And then even so, like the next generations, my parents are immigrants. Technically, I'm still not the first generation because I was born in the Philippines, but I can only think about what my kids and their kids later down the road are going to be like, yo, there's now third generation American. So hopefully like I was able to learn some things to teach my kids that my parents didn't know, how to work this system that is America, and vice versa. Like, the reason why I feel like I've tried so many different, I guess, dreams and trying to reach different goals is because in my mind, I've always thought like, oh, that's the highest peak you can get to, or like that's what I should be shooting for. And, you know, I guess for a lot of Asian households, it's like be a lawyer, be a doctor, be something.
Exactly. Exactly.
But for me, it's like, nah, the dream's bigger than that. It's different. It's not just doing what I'm like supposed to do, but especially for Filipinos, it's nursing. But yeah, it was.
Yeah, my girlfriend's actually a new grad nurse, but she's not Filipino.
Well, congratulations to her. Hey, that's no joke, and I'm sure all the work she put in is definitely going to pay off. Now that she's graduated. But yeah, and I had another. As far as parenthood, you think you're going to be the nice parent, or are you going to be able to like deliver that tough love? I have this issue all the time working with the kids I work with, and they've told me, Jan, you're too nice. You got to work on like trying to show some tough love. So for you, do you feel like which one would you be?
Oh, for sure, I'd be a good cop, just because like
yeah.
well, yeah, and still like, you know, have that, you know, bad cop like mentality, or like walking to like a situation with like some of that mentality. And I say that because like growing up, like my dad was just always so hard on me.
I got you. Yeah.
And like, and you know, like Asian kids like growing up here in the country to like immigrant parents, like you always get your ass beat, you know?
No doubt.
Whether if it's like something super big or like something super small, you know, that's like, you know, some of the trauma that I dealt with, and that's like something I'm never going to do to my kids. Yeah, I just want to like love them and just like hold them and be the best I could be to them.
For sure, man. And I think one day they're definitely gonna say thank you when you get to that point.
Hopefully.
All right. Gave the wheel another spin, and now you are at 21.
21.
And this one is, what are you too stubborn to let go of?
What am I too stubborn to let go of? Say my ego.
Why your ego?
Or not necessarily my ego, but like I'm very like prideful.
I see.
Like I tend to do this a lot in life, and it makes me like come across as like super stubborn, but I would say, you know, part of that reason is because like I always think I'm right for some reason. or I always like think back to like, well, this situation had to happen this way because of X, Y, and Z, and yeah, I mean, there's just so much that comes with that. Yeah, I'll say my pride. I was always, actually, I would say like growing up, I was never really taught to say like, oh, I'm sorry. I was always taught to like sweep everything under the rug and just like pretending everything's cool the next day, and never really being like the bigger person to, you know, speak up first. And that's like one thing that I would say like I'm still working on to this day.
I got you, man. I got you. I know for myself, the thing about this is a new realization I came across maybe a couple of weeks ago. But one is that I don't think I really like being told what to do. I don't know if that's the same for you, where I feel like, oh, you should do it this way, or like, you know, even with this podcast, people be like, oh, maybe you should try this, and I'm like, I don't know, I don't think, I don't think that I should. I like what I'm doing, and I like the way I'm going, so maybe not. And not even just
Yeah,
that, but yeah, with Sugar Bros, you ever
yeah.
feel like people give you advice and you're like, I don't know.
I'm always open to the idea of like doing new things with the business, whether if it's like, you know, adding toppings or like,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
just trying like new flavors. But I could tell you like for sure, been there, done that. Literally into everything in the book that you could possibly think of. Even like tried adding boba, and it's like the worst thing you could ever do to a sugarcane drink.
Really? Well, why is it the worst? Does boba get hella hard because of the sugar, or is it just like difficult process?
Yeah, because it's like, no, I mean, if you think about it, right? Like, would you have boba with fresh orange juice?
Oh, okay. I got you. I got you. I don't think I ever
Yeah.
have, and I don't think I ever will.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Excuse
Bless
me.
you. Yeah.
Thank you. But yeah, it's kind of the same concept if you think about it.
I got you. That makes sense to me now. And then my follow up for you is, when was like the last time your pride kind of got in the way, like that you can kind of think about?
I think that's a question for off camera.
I got you, man. No worries. No worries. Let me give the wheel another spin. I feel it though, man. I feel like for me, pride is always, or my pride and ego, even though I have a note back here that says let go of ego, because I know for myself it's very it's a daily challenge, man. And you know, part of me, I was talking to a student about this, and she was telling me how like, yeah, I think I'm special. I think I can be famous. I can do like great things. And I was telling her like, that's great. And I feel like it's also a gift and curse, and kind of explained to her how that I kind of felt that way at her age. And I was kind of like, you know, the reason, because you feel like you can do anything, you're going to try so many things before you find what it is that's like really solid for you. And I don't want her to go through what I went through, which is like 20 jobs, trying to figure out what it is that I am passionate about. But yeah, man. So gave the wheel another spin, and we are at number 7. This question for you is, what is the toughest thing to admit about yourself? And I guess it kind of works with the ego. And what's one way that you feel like?
Yeah. That was definitely one thing. Tough thing that I'm able to admit about myself. Yeah, I think it just really comes down to like that, like ego and pride thing. Yeah, and just overall like starting, like whenever I have a problem, like I'm never really the one to like talk.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's probably one thing that I could like really like work on about myself, is just like really like speaking up more. Yeah, I'm usually more of an extrovert, like when it comes to like going out and stuff, but when it comes down to like all like the really like real conversations, I have a really hard time doing that. So
dude, same here. And I don't know, have you ever had success in saying what you needed to say, or like it's still something about it?
So here's my so here's my thing, right? Like I could walk into a conversation with like 30 million things that are in my head,
mm-hmm.
and I know how I'm gonna say it, but it just never comes out the way that even like same thing with like job interviews. Like I could literally like prep. You could literally give me an interview sheet with all the questions, and I'll write down all the answers of how I would say it, but it just never comes out the way that I want it to.
I got you. And you ever have that moment of like, damn, I wish I could have said that, or like afterwards?
Yeah, like literally like right after the conversation's done, it's like, crap, like why didn't I say this instead?
I feel it, man. That does happen to me too. And I don't know what it is. I think the advice I got from someone was like, when you have a hard conversation to have, or like coming up when you need to, maybe you should write it down, and maybe that's the way you communicate. I'm like, I don't know. I haven't tried it yet, and I feel like it's one of those new things that I don't know the people I need to talk to are gonna be receptive to it. Or they're gonna be like, why the fuck are you giving me a piece of paper? Why not just tell me? And then that pretty much will probably maybe shut me off. Like, oh, never mind then. It's cool. It's not a big deal. We can talk about it later. Yeah, it happens a lot. All right, Doc, I think we got time for one more spin. So let's see what you get this time. Lucky number 13. Okay, this one I think might be the heaviest one of what you've gotten so far. But how do you feel like you've disappointed yourself?
I think one way that I feel like I've disappointed myself is I think it just kind of goes back to like the whole like ego thing. I wish I could have been better at like listening to people and not be so arrogant. Because arrogance could cause some, leakage or breakage, if you will.
Sure.
Whether if it's like amongst like friends, like relationships, or even like family. Yeah.
No, I got you, man. Definitely, I'm hoping, as much as I try to like avoid these conversations that I need to have with my homies and all this stuff, it's like, I hope I don't get to a point where I'm disappointed that I never took action, right? Or was never able to say anything. But I hear you, man. I don't think outwardly arrogance has been my issue. I think I'm very inwardly very arrogant because I always think that, oh, things are gonna work out, things are gonna pop off if I keep pushing and stuff. And for me, admitting that, like, it is kind of arrogant to think that way, even though they tell us believe in yourself and work hard and you can do it. I don't know, man. It's very weird. Like, the messaging I've got all my life at this point in my life, I feel like is not contradicting, but I am not sure what people really mean when they say those things. Like, you could do anything you want to do as long as you work hard and put your mind to it. It's like, cool, but then you need X, Y, and Z to fall into place too for those things to happen. So I don't know, man. I think a part of the reason why I like these conversations with you and all my other guests is kind of finding that clarity of like, what is it really? And I can only find out if I talk to you guys in this way. But I hear it. All right, dog. So before we move on to the closeout questions, I'm going to ask you to participate in this little activity called the 34th mantra. All right. So what I want you to do, if you don't mind closing your eyes for a second, is imagine yourself in the woods and you are just like in your zone, meditating by yourself, right? And you got this like thought or this mantra that you want to kind of just keep to yourself, but it's at a peaceful moment. And the mantra is, I am, I can, I will. So I am blank, I can blank, I will blank. Give yourself a second to think about how you would fill out those blanks. When you're ready, open your eyes and let it rip.
So I am, I can, and I will.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I guess how should I put this? I guess like I can be a much better listener and conversationalist. Because if you can't listen, you can't really have a conversation. And these are the things that I can start doing, like if I really like put my mind to it and just really like soaking everything up like a sponge. And I guess like I will do these things by opening up more having more conversations, not dodging confrontation, if you will. Yeah.
I got you, dog. Now, if you ever need a reminder for yourself, you have this little sound bite to just kind of turn back to.
For sure.
But thank you for doing that, dog. All right, man. We made it to the closeout portion of the podcast. And this first part is a question from my previous guest. So shout out to Nico Blitz. Nico's question for you, Harry.
I love that guy.
Oh, yeah. So how do you know that guy?
Well, I follow him on Instagram because like
Really?
I came across like this post of like him like spinning like old MySpace music or whatever the case is, and I was like, dang, I gotta follow this guy. This guy's sick.
Dude, I don't know how that.
But I don't know him personally though. So
No, for sure. But I just didn't realize how like well known he was, I guess, in the Bay Area community. Even because he goes back, he's from here, but he moved down to LA and he's been just doing shows everywhere. But nah, for sure, it's just funny to me that like the algorithm just hit all of us, and we all kind of like followed him one way or the other. But yeah, so Nico's question for you, man, is how do you define success?
I think the way that I define success is not only like, you know, I think in my case, you know, with the businesses, you know, you can always like be successful with like making a shitload of money, but are you actually happy doing it? Or even like the part of how hard have you tried? Like how much of your all have you put into this, whether you succeed or fail. So if you give it your all and you end up failing, I think that's still a success because you can always say, hey, at least I tried.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure. And the second part of this was, what is a successful day to you?
I think a successful day to me is I think it kind of ties back to like just, you know, living a chill and normal lifestyle. You know, I just wake up, go to work. I serve the customers that, you know, inquire about, you know, my juice. I come home, I cook and eat dinner. I watch TV with my lady and go to bed. And I think, you know, ending your day on a good note is a successful day where there's no problems, anything. I think that's what makes us day successful. Just ending the day on a great note.
Dude, like, I think I'm blessed to not have that issue of like it's hard to fall asleep sometimes because like something's bothering me, right? Like definitely successful days where like, yo, I can just sleep or like lay back and not really have to worry about stuff. And next morning I hit it hard again, right? So I hear you, man. My second to last question for you is, what would you like to ask the next guest on 34 Questions?
I think what I want to ask the next guest is, what is your purpose in life? Or what do you think your purpose in life is? And how do you implement that on a day-to-day basis?
Writing it down. How do you implement that daily basis? I do like answering this last question too, so let me do that real quick. What is your purpose in life? I've thought about this a lot. Like, I don't know if it's the regular amount or more than the regular person would think about this, but I think throughout all my reflections, one is that I think that there's a balance in the universe, right? Good versus evil. And I don't really want to label it that. It's just really like either things that we like or things we dislike. I am definitely the person that's like, okay, there's some really bad things out there, a lot of bad people out there, So I need to focus on being on that good side and being very like, as much good energy as I can put out there, that's what I'm focused on. So as far as purpose in life goes, I think that's where I'm coming from. And how do I implement that on a daily basis? I fortunately, have a job where I feel like I can do that in a community where I'm serving mostly younger folks, but also, the adults that are a part of that community, and giving that energy to them and trying to provide that in a space where it's a public school. It's not the best public school. So there's always like, that feeling of, I think for some folks in the community, some dread, like they're dreading to come into work. They're dreading to have to go to school, right?
Yeah. Or like uncertainty.
Uncertainty for sure. Like people don't feel secure about certain things. I don't know if you've seen like the headlines the past couple of years for SFUSD, but like teachers aren't getting paid on time, or there's messing up with their payments, and I'm like, damn, and teachers are still showing up. So in my mind, it's like, y'all must really love what y'all do or love the kids, because if you're not getting your check, for a whole month or maybe 2 months, and you're still showing up to work, that's like mad respect.
A lot of dedication.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So implementing it on a daily basis, I get to give that good energy in a place where I feel like they need it, and also creating the podcast give me a chance to do it very in an intimate kind of like intimate way, have one-on-one conversations. Just do the same for folks like yourself, and then sometimes people I don't even know, like complete strangers. So yeah, it's working well for me. I think my day always feels full, especially as far as a successful day goes. As long as I can end it with a conversation with somebody new, it definitely feels successful. And I think this is how I've been able to implement my purpose in my daily life. So thank you for that question, man. I'm very curious to see what the next person's gonna do with it or how they take it.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. Yeah, just let me know when the next one drops, and yeah,
you'll see that person answer your question, man. And then my last question for you, Harry, the question that ties everything together: 100, 200, 300 years from now, your descendants are watching this video. What would you like to tell them?
One thing I like to tell them is like, always, try something new. Always go after your dreams. Find out what you're passionate about. And not in the sense of like, all right, what's going to make me happy today, but it might not make me happy tomorrow, but find out what really makes you happy, what will make you happy for the rest of your life. Yeah. And just live life to the fullest as much as you can. Live life with no regret, or try to live life with no regrets. I always like YOLO everything when it comes down to like,
because it's
doing
true.
things.
It's true, man. We only live once.
Yeah, like, and just also going back to the this or that, it was like regret or doubt.
Yeah.
Like, don't ever doubt yourself. Like, you could always do it, and if things don't go the right way, like, cool, you can always think back like, oh man, I wish I could have done this a different way, and just move and grow from it. You grow through it. So
I hear it, man. I hear you, they hear you. And any last things you'd like to add before we head out of here? Any plugs? You kind of said it out there, but if you want to, let the folks know where to find you.
Yeah, I mean, you guys find me. I don't know when this is dropping, but sugarbros.com, or sugarbrosSF on Instagram. Yeah, if you're ever interested in trying some delicious juice, that's pretty much like out of this world with like different flavors, or even just trying something new, hit me up on there. Yeah.
This is gonna drop before September, so any September events like that?
September events. Yes, we will be at the Secondhand Saturdays event over, I believe it's in Dogpatch District or Mission Bay. We will also be hopefully at the next Filipino Fest next month, on the 16th, and possibly the first Sunset Night Market on the 15th. on Irving Street. So yeah, stay tuned for that.
Right on, Harry. Dog, I just want to thank you again for stopping by. I hope this was, fun for you. It's definitely fun for me. So thank you for giving me your time, giving me your energy, and just being open to have this kind of conversation with me, man.
Yeah, no, it was super awesome. Like before we even started this whole thing, like I was telling you, it's actually like the first pod that I ever did, or even just like getting interviewed at all about like myself, my life, and where I am at now. And no, it's been freaking awesome.
For sure, man. I'm glad. I never know how people feel about it, so I'm glad you had a good time. And yeah, I don't know if your other brothers, your other bros might be down to do this too. It'd be great to have all the sugar bros on here at some point.
Yeah, maybe one day
if they're open to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, for sure, man. I want to thank you again, and I also want to thank the folks out there. If you listen in on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or watching on YouTube, definitely appreciate your time as well. Please remember to reach out, reach forward. As always, much love. And we'll catch you guys next time on 34 Questions. Peace.